So small consistencies equal long-term success. This is where we get stuck. A lot of times, especially if you're in sales, you're looking for the big win. You're looking for the big house. You're looking for the big check. You're looking for yes, 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 yes. Well, the best guys, whenever it comes to business, whenever it comes to sales, whenever it comes to anything in your life, they do this extremely well. They build habits on habits on habits on habits on habits to where now it is just a part of who they are. How you start your day matters. This is the most, if in this class you don't get anything else, this is the one thing that I can tell you have the most control of. You have control. The one area in your life you have the most control of, unless you are in Ukraine or you're somewhere to where you're waking up and there's bombs going off. Even when that happens, the one part of your day you have the most control of is the first 30 minutes. Like, you really have a lot of control over that, what you do at that time. When you open your eyes, you have control of what you think, you have control of what you do, you have control of what your perspective is. You really do. Now that starts the night before, but let's look at, if you chose every single day to start with small wins, right? What would that look like? Well, you wake up, that's a win, right? Well, then let's say, I'll tell you what my activity of every day. I wake up, and the first thing I do when I open my eyes is I literally, like, through like squinty eyes, I go, what are 5 things I'm grateful for? Well, I woke up, I'm grateful for my daughter. I'm grateful for the fact that I get to go live my purpose today. I'm grateful for my dad. I'm grateful that I'm going to have coffee in 5 minutes. As dumb as that might sound, that's literally how I start my day that way every single day. What's the second I do? Well, it used to be I would get out of bed, make my bed, and then go read my Bible. Now, what I do is I actually roll over, grab my phone, open the Bible app, and I read Proverbs. You don't have to read Proverbs. I'm not telling you to read scripture, but like finding something before your feet hit the ground, like you can literally have 2 wins. Now, let's say that you start your day off that way, and then you roll your feet out of bed, and all of a sudden you get a phone call, and it's your boss saying, hey, dude, listen, XYZ went wrong at the job. I need to get you here as fast as possible. Well, what you've done is you've conditioned yourself to where you're already in a positive mindset, right? So because you've already conditioned yourself, because you had control over those things, and then you get that phone call, it's not as big of a blow. So what can happen out of that? Well, then you choose, because you have habits in place. Well, now I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to go have my coffee. Like, you still do your morning routine because that's what you've consistently done. Well, now you're bouncing back really fast, right? If we look at the grade curve right now, you're still at a 1 win, right? If you look at the spread on your wins, if you're in the betting, right? You're still +1. Well, then all of a sudden on your way to work, you end up getting stuck in traffic. It's not good. Then you walk into the office and you tell someone something positive, or someone says, hey, you look really good today. That's a win. Then you talk to your boss and he's like, hey, by the way, everything got solved. It's not a big deal. Well, then you have a massive win. Then maybe all of a sudden you go and you talk to that customer that there's a big issue with, and then they refer you a customer. Well, that's another big win. And all of a sudden you just start getting these wins stacked. And then, right before the end of the day, maybe you find out that your kid's sick at school and you got to pick them up because they have diarrhea. Or maybe you find out something else. Well, it goes into the loss category. But if you look at this day, you end the day with 7 wins because you chose to start your day with those small wins. You turn it around a lot faster, right? Well, small wins consistently allow us to handle losses much more confidently. If you're constantly programming yourself over and over and over again to look for the positive, you will find the positive in every situation. Now, what would have happened if we just hoped for a win at the start of the day? Okay. What would that look like? Well, we're going to start the day with no wins. So you wake up, so we'll give you 1 point. Okay. So you wake up, you roll around, you're laying there, you kind of step out of bed, and you're like, man, I don't want to be here. I'm going to just kind of make my bed. You go to take a leak, and then you get the phone call from your boss. What happens? You're starting -3. You literally go immediately negative because you didn't take control of the start of your day. You let your day happen to you. Now you're starting at a deficit. Now you're in the first quarter and you're already down 3 touchdowns, right? Well, then you wake up, then you start going, well, I'm going to make my bed, I'm going to have my coffee, get a win. Then you run into the exact same scenario again to where you walk out the door and then something wrong happens. Well, you're back down to -3. What's the chances of that spiraling into now you walk in the office, you haven't had a good morning, you haven't had your coffee, the person looks at you and they're like, well, you look like crap because you're literally not ready. So you're just dragging everything. Then you go talk to your boss and your boss is like, hey, guess what? Everything's fine. Well, you still get the big win, but guess where you're at? You're at -1. In the other scenario, you're already at like 4 wins for the day. In this scenario, you're at -1. Then you get another big win. Exact same scenario, right? You end up talking to the client tells you everything's all right. Well, now you're back to 1 win. Then you get another win. Well, then you get the same loss. Then you get another big win. Then you get another big win. But ultimately, you end the day with 7 points or 4 points instead of 7 points. And what was the difference in the two? How you started your day. Are y'all with me? Does this make sense? Have you ever thought about it this way? Dude, you can control. That's the one area in your life you control. Like literally, like you can normally control like first 5 minutes. Like you don't really know what's going to happen after that. But if you choose to have small wins, if you choose to have a positive mindset, you are going to have a better day. It is going to prepare you. If you wake up and you just, that's why whenever it comes to drinking, in my humble opinion, it's one of the worst things you can do because you wake up and you're not ready to fire. You're dehydrated, you're down. Or if you do drugs, or if you go to bed angry, that's another big one. You go to bed angry and you allow your cortisol levels to spike, where you're going to have terrible dreams and you're going to wake up in a bad mood. So like how you start your day, guys, will determine how many points you end. And then guess what? If you consistently, so if we did a data analysis on these two, right? And you got 2 people that are living the exact same life, but the one difference is that one person wakes up doing that every day. How many wins is the other person getting over 10 days? Well, on average, they're getting 3 wins a day. So they're going to have 30 more wins over 10 days than the other person had. Those little micro wins, those matter too. And y'all know this too. Those matter. So often we wake up expecting the world to just come to us. It's all going to work itself out. Why are we not seizing the day that the God-given win of having another day? Like you get to wake up every single day and you get to choose whether you're excited or not, or you can choose to just kind of wallow.